Deliver room, deliver room, deliver room, deliver room, deliver room, deliver room, deliver room. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the living room. I'm your host, I'm your host, Jaye Allen, and as you can see, both Buddy and Mr. Starvin Artist are gone today. So they're both on assignment, but never fear because we have our guest host, Antoine.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah, Antoine is a friend of mine, and as we were talking over the weekend, I was like, oh my god, you sound so much like Buddy.
Speaking of Buddy, he's always on vacation.
He is always on vacation.
Oh my god, I'm trying to be like him one day, but...
Oh my god, that's so crazy. Well, we got lots to talk about this week, so we're going to get started. Starting with the Queens of Drama, Wednesdays on Pop. So Queens of Drama is a great show. It's about these 6 women that are soap opera stars that basically are trying to create a primetime drama for themselves. So as we talked about last week, the women were basically trying to go behind Donna Collins' back. Donna Collins, why do I keep calling this lady Donna Collins? Donna Mills.
Donna Mills.
her back and replace her, but they did not know that Donna Mills and Joan Collins were friends, and so she surprises them at the board meeting by bringing Joan Collins in.
Yes.
Yes, it was crazy, right?
Yes, that was like a dagger for like everybody.
Right.
They was like, oh my god, like Joan Collins is here. Oh my god, like I don't know how this is gonna go down.
Right, and so, they were all surprised, thrown off guard, and, she basically was like, I heard you guys were trying to replace me, so what's up with that? And it was just like...
Yeah, so Crystal innocently, like, we talked, we had a meeting, and basically, and then Donna was like, well, what made you talk to her? Like, what made you go behind my back and talk to Joan? So Crystal was like, well, basically, when you're dating, you just don't go with the first person you meet.
Well,
like,
yeah, you just
gotta
actually
date
make
options.
Right.
And,
I get that point, like, if you're dating somebody, yeah, but, like, if you have a project lead, mind you, Donna Mills made herself the own project on a project that's not even hers.
Exactly.
And, she did kind of say that, and so, Donna actually confronts her about that later in a separate meeting. It was like, basically, I know you were the one that told people about this, that tried to replace Joan.
Right. And basically, like, she was... she just didn't fess up to it.
No,
like,
she was lying.
She was
Girl,
just like,
they got cameras.
I had other people talking to Joan. It actually wasn't me. And she just made herself look untrustworthy.
Right, and she was like, whether you told them, whether your makeup artist that you asked to tell them told them, at the same day, you the source of the thing. So she confronted her about that, and I think that shook up Crystal a little bit because she was thinking about replacing her. She's trying to replace everybody off this project.
And she just makes herself look kind of bad and untrustworthy. And Crystal should have just confessed, like, yeah, I wanted someone else, or we were trying to make other options, And she asked her, she was like, well, how can I trust you? And she basically, like, paused, like, for a long time, like, well, I'm trustworthy. Like, no, you're not. I'm sorry. You're not.
Right. No, and then, so I think, it also comes out that Crystal actually had some charges. She got convicted for a bar fight where she assault with a deadly weapon. She's on probation for 3 years.
She threw a wine glass in somebody's face.
In the bar.
And then claims to never have been in a fight. She's never been aggressive. She's been in a fight with somebody because any fighter I know that would throw a glass in your face, like, you've been in some fights.
Assault with a deadly weapon.
Exactly.
And, I don't believe any of it is reality. It seems like they all acting as if they in General Hospital as the world turns.
Yes, but anyway, I can't wait to see the next episode because I see Vanessa is going to go off.
Vanessa is about that life. Yes, she gets into a fight next week. And so, yes, this show comes on Wednesdays on Pop, the old TV Guide network. So, let's move on to the Prancing Elites. Yeah. Okay, now, as you guys know, I was very, judgmental about this show because I was like, ugh. Another one of these gay people on TV dancing around, licking the women's clothes. I was just not here for this show at all.
Me, I was more for the show because I feel for gay men like them, because we look down on each other all the time, so I was all for the show. I'm just like,
yeah, I mean, but I would challenge anybody who's seen the show and just been like automatically just been turned off to what from the show to just give it a shot, give it one episode, because it's not really so much about it's about their struggle, but it's really about how people view other people in general. Right. People always are so quick to make judgments based on people's race, based on people's sexuality, based on people's gender, based on so many different things, without really kind of getting the full story. Right. And so these young men that are dancing, they've really had a lot of ups and downs. And then one of them, they decided, because they can't go and compete in other shows, that they were going to create their own show called Prance to the Beat. Hey, Prance to the Beat. Yes, hey. Well, where men and women could dance and compete against each other. So,
basically, it starts off, well, we're going to go from the last episode with Adrian and his mom.
Yeah, that was
they kind of sat down at dinner, and he basically wanted to know, like, Mom, why don't you support me? Like, I see that you support, like, all your other siblings, but you just don't support me, and I don't think that's fair.
I went to a talent show in the 4th grade. Ma'am, I'm like 24 years old. Exactly. I'm not in the 4th grade. And I mean, I can kind of get that, because he was like, you know, like, me as like a dancer, like I do a lot of shows, I do a lot of musical theater, I do a lot of stuff and different things like that. And you know, I have friends that play different sports in college. Like I had a cousin that played football, a cousin that played basketball, and then it's just like I feel like my family would go like all over the United States to basically see them. And it's just like I'm doing shows here, but it's just like, well, if you can go across the United States to see them, but you can't come here to see a show, I don't feel supported in that, because it's like, and you know, like I would have conversations like, oh, we support you, yada yada yada. I was like, but you really don't, you know. And it was just like, it's frustrating.
Yeah, she really doesn't support him to me, and she just kind of got on my nerves a little bit. Because she said that she was going to come. And I mean, this boy was up here basically crying for her to show up. And she was like, I'm not going to come. I have to work. And then she changed her mind. I'm going to come. So I already felt some type of way about that.
Right, because I would rather you say you're not going to come and not come, instead of you telling me you're going to come. And then I'm sitting there getting it, and like there's an empty seat.
Exactly.
I mean, and then nobody's sitting there.
Right, and they had a row reserved, and I don't think any of them moms showed up.
The lead one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
so I mean, it was kind of crazy. So then, you know, they went to go visit their manager, this lady who is like the worst manager ever. Because,
Suzanne.
Right, and they go to her and then she'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't get you on this parade. I couldn't get you here, I couldn't get you there. Like, she never get them no gigs, and I mean, it's the same old story.
I'm like, child, where did they find her on Craigslist? Because, I mean, they just go in this little shopping center, and she's just basically at this little small table with her laptop, and she's just,
right.
Oh, I'm sorry, they said no, and it's like she just reaches out to people, and they tell her no, and she just goes with it. Like, she doesn't even fight for them, and I'm like...
Right, because all the shows they be doing on their own. Yes. They did the Prance to the Beat, they did that, they doing all these shows on their own.
And I just feel like it's always the same thing. Like, the guy who's the leader, like, he comes in there, and she can't do anything for him, and he's like, well, you know what? We're going to do something anyway. Like, if we couldn't... Like, they wanted to perform at the Bayou Classic in New Orleans, so... They couldn't perform there, of course, because they got denied. So they went down there anyway.
And they went down there anyway, and you know, they decided to take the journey down there, and they got there, and they were in the French quarters, and they were like, we can't perform at the Bayou Classic, but we're going to perform in New Orleans. They started, you know, performing, the crowd started coming around, you know, people start going, and the greatest thing about it, you know, if you've ever been to New Orleans, there's a lot of musicians and things like that. The live musicians came around them and started playing. I mean, it was this great thing, and it was so good to see them support it, because one of these things about this show is that it causes you to kind of look at, because we as people, I think, sometimes make so many judgments off of what we see. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's just like we make so many judgments off what we see instead of just like seeing what the situation really is. And this show really just kind of causes us to stop doing that and saying, you know what, let me just see it for what it is. It's these guys that like how to dance, so let me see this person for who they are, you know. and different things like that. So it's very, very interesting show.
Yes, I just thought that moment for them was like everything, and I thought it was just something that they really needed as a group,
right?
You know, as dancers and just people who want to express themselves. Because the fact that they went down there anyway and just danced in front of a whole bunch of people who could have possibly like slandered them like they were done before, they was just supportive of them, like. All you see is all these women and men coming out clapping for them. The band started playing for them. Like, it was everything.
Nice.
And then after that, like, they shook people's hands and
take a picture.
Everything. So I just thought it was everything, and I was so happy for them.
From New Orleans, one of the guys gets a call saying that his house had burned down. His roommate was like, our house is burned down. And it was such devastating news. And then on top of that, it comes to find out that the guy's room is the source of the fire. And they go to his house, and the house is completely burned down. It was one of the saddest moments ever. And you found out that it was intentionally set on fire by someone, just like as a hate crime, basically.
It was.
And, you know, he was so inspiring because remember when he said it, he was like...
I was really touched by this portion of that show because, I mean, he went in there, seeing that everything was burnt. All he had was left was like 3 pairs of shoes, and all his outfits were thrown out. And I mean, like, he broke down and his friends were there and they were saying, like, how much they want to support him and stuff like that, which is great. But which really, like, kind of touched me was, like, he was like, you know what? You burned my apartment down, but that ain't going to stop nothing. I'm still a Prancing Elite. I'm still going to dance. I'm still going to do my thing. And I'm going to get me another apartment. And if you burn that down, I'm going to get another one. So, you know what? Kudos to him and kudos to their whole group. Keep doing y'all thing because
they're going to inspire a lot of people where they know it about. And I just encourage people that if you haven't watched this show because you just kind of had some preconceived notion about it, I just challenge you all to just maybe watch an episode. And then if you still don't like it, then great. But I guarantee you that you're definitely going to like it after you watch it. All right? So that's Prancing Elites. And that also comes on Wednesday nights on Oxygen. All right, now let's move on to the main event. Real Housewives of Atlanta. It came to a close last night. I mean, I'm kind of sad to see season 7 go.
I know, me too.
Yeah, and so last night was just the kind of come to Jesus moment.
Yes.
Jesus fixed it. Thank you, Porsha. Phaedra, fix it, Jesus.
Fixed it,
well, he's in the midst.
Okay, he's working on it. He's working on it.
Please be patient with me. God is not through with me.
I don't know that song.
You don't know that song? When God gets through. What?
I don't know that song.
Cameraman, do you know that song?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay,
it's a silent song, probably. I don't know. Just like you didn't know them other songs, and somebody was like, I didn't know the songs. But anyways, you know, so it gets started, and, you know, last week the men were in the room, so... You know, the tension kind of goes still to Candy and Todd and trying to figure out what's going on with there. We found out it's really the prenup. That really is the issue of the prenup. And we also learn about Sharon. We talk about his mom, Sharon, how she passed away and different things like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm still, you know, praying for Todd and Candy and that family because I can only imagine what it feels like to lose a loved one, let alone a parent.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, you know... he mentioned that all the guys came and supported. Greg came to the funeral. Peter came to the funeral. Greg even spoke at the funeral, which I thought that was nice. Nene tried everything she could do to get out of her Cinderella engagement so she could attend the funeral. So, I mean, it was really nice that people really rallied around her.
Didn't make it, though.
Well, she said she had to speak at an event. So, you know, but she did say she took care of, make sure, because she reached out for the funeral, that Candy reached out to her funeral. She said she made sure that everything was taken care of. Yeah. So I feel like everybody that could supported in the way that they could support. What Candy did clarify one of the things that I thought was very interesting because on screen, Mama Joyce actually apologized to Todd for talking about his mom, and the way it was edited during the show, it seemed like it came after Miss Sharon had passed away. But Candy said that apology actually was when Miss Sharon was still alive, and then he didn't really accept that because of the way she did that. But apparently, Mama Joyce came and gave another apology later that Todd
didn't see.
No, we didn't see. So.
I don't know if it's sincere or not because I didn't think the first time she
apologized, you know, Todd,
it was sincere.
Todd would not accept it if it wasn't sincere.
I guess.
Oh my God. You know, so then, you know, it moves on to Greg, and the men are getting ready to leave, and Greg, who always has something wise to say, and you know, Greg was just like, I like to leave all the women with just this one point. He was just like, you know, I encourage you all to just really, you know, support one another in different things. It was like, you know, faults are like headlights when you're driving. It was like, you can only see the other people's, you know, lights. You can't really see your own. So basically, you can only see other people's faults. You can't really see your own. And, you know, I think that's so wise, because sometimes it's just like, you know, we be like, oh, this person, this, and this, but we never see what's going on here. Because that may be the problem right there. That's maybe why that person is this, and this. So Greg always has something nice to say. They transition over a little bit to Porsha, the princess of Thoughtlandia. Yes. And so, you know, they were just kind of really talking about Porsha this season, how she really just didn't change from the very first time we saw her 3 seasons ago to today. You know, how she was like the stereotypical housewife then, and now she's the princess of Thoughtlandia.
And also, she's supposed to be like this queen of shade now. But I mean, she made a valid point to me. She was like, I grew up, like, you know, I'm stronger now. So when people come for me, I'm going to come back for them. So I kind of felt her on that.
I mean, I like her independence, but I think she's just taking the thoughtness to a whole nother level, especially when they were just talking about her grandfather, Hosea Williams, that basically was one of the leaders for the Selma March. That was actually one of the main characters in the movie of Selma, that was right there about Martin Luther King. And, you know, they asked her about, you know, that, and she was like, yes, you know, I, you know, marched with my grandfather. They threw, they threw rocks. Now, I was like, Porsha was born in 1981.
What was they marching at?
What march was this? I would like to know. And what march are people throwing rocks at you at 1981?
Girl, I don't even know what to say about that.
I was like, girl. I was like, and you live in these marches, but you don't know the Underground Railroad.
Exactly.
Yes. So I was like, Lord, Porsha. But I love her, and hopefully they would give her peach back next season.
I mean, it seemed like she kind of had a peach.
She did, basically.
At the reunion.
She was at the reunion, and, you know, which was really the big moment of the night. They bring Dr. Jeff back out to really kind of talk about what really went wrong in the canceling session that he held. And basically, you know, this is when Nene really just started to break down, and it really started to focus a little bit about her mom. And then, you know, she was like, I can't talk about her mom, I can't talk about my mom. And then she just started to tear up, and she even walked off the set at one point.
Well, basically, first of all, when Dr. Jeff came out,
oh, she was throwing shade.
She was throwing shade, and I'm like, Nene, really? Like, really? But basically, she felt like she was just the target. Like, the first thing I guess he asked was, what's everybody's problem with Nene? And it seemed like everybody was ganging up on Nene. And Nene, you know, she...
see, but Candy was like, that's not how I remember it. Because Candy was basically like, you know, what you said was that I'm not here for Nene, I'm here for everybody. And Nene already had an attitude from the jump as soon as he said that.
You know what
like,
she did.
You don't even, I don't even know you like that.
Right.
So, but anyway, it just kind of talks about, you know, Dr. Jeff was like, well, I knew a lot of your issues with your mother and different things like that. And then all of a sudden she just breaks down, which I thought was a really powerful moment for the show and for Nene. Because it's just like, man, it showed us like a real moment of Nene, where it's just like, she could be strong, she could be rich, she could be powerful, she could be successful. But, you know, she still goes through a lot. She's still human. She still cries and different things like that. And it's just like, you know, it added a humanness to her, I think.
Yeah, it did. And I feel like for people who love Nene, who are Nene fans, like, they'll even connect more to her because, like, they know this other side of her. Like, she's not just this fabulous, strong queen, because she tries to be strong all the time. But, you know, everybody has a backstory. Everybody goes through something. Everybody, you know, just have skeletons in their closet. So, I mean, it was just a really touching moment for me to see
and
her,
I think
like,
people
I was like, oh my God, because I'm not the biggest Nene fan. But when I seen her break down, like, I felt for her, you know. And another thing was, like, Cynthia was there for her. Like, even though they're not friends, I was like, I was just happy to see Cynthia just get up and still just be there for her in that most vulnerable
it was
moment.
a very good moment because I felt like you said people were able to connect, and people who weren't really Team Nene were like, wow, you know. And then when Greg, like, she talked about her mom on the first season, but the way she talked about it was that her mom abandoned her. But then when Greg actually gave like the synopsis of what really happened, he like, oh, because basically what we find out is that Nene's mom had 5 kids, and she just wasn't able to support 5 kids, so she sent 2 of them to live with her sister, Nene, and another child. And basically, Nene has grown up all her life was just like, why did you send me away? And you know, I can understand that, because it's just like growing up, you would be like, it's one thing you'll be like, oh, I can't take care of you, so I'm gonna send all y'all to leave. But why did you? What was so wrong with me that you had to send me away? And sometimes we don't understand the struggles of our parents. I think, you know, once we understand that our parents do everything that they can so that we don't experience what they had to experience sometimes, I feel like. And then now her mom's passed away, so she'll never get some of those answers. And when you deal with that over and over, be like, I'm never good enough, I'm never good enough, my mom gave me away, then I'm going to have this boss mentality where I'm going to be the richest, I'm going to be the queen, I'm going to be the boss, you going to respect me, you going to do this. And if you don't, then I forget you. Because you're not going to do me like my mama did. Because I'm be successful, I'm be rich, and you're going to like me, you're going to love me, and you'll never forget me.
And 2 things, and I hate to keep going back to Cynthia, but I felt like she was giving her great advice too. And by her talking to her the way that she did, I was like, wow, they were really good friends. They were really good friends, because she was just giving her very good advice.
Yeah.
And then another thing was Candy. I mean, Candy just was
there
for like, girl, I'm not coming up to hug her, like,
Candy was just like, yeah, right, yeah, Candy.
And I was kind of shocked with that, because Candy seems like she's a very emotional person. I mean, even though like she's probably closer to her mom, and her mom is in her life, obviously. I just thought she would have had some type of sympathy. You know,
I would have thought anybody,
exactly,
especially as close she's a mom. But you know, the whole moment was really nice, and it's just like hurt people. I think, you know what I'm saying. It's just like when people are hurt, all they know how to do is hurt and different things like that. And so that's why it's just like it's very important to just always be nice to people, because you don't never know what nobody going through. I may be looking happy and excited all the time. You may be looking happy, but you don't never know what people are going through at all. And so it's always just, and I liked that moment. I thought it was a good ending, because they all ended with a nice group hug and different things like that. And I was just like, you know, at the end of the day, when it really matters, if I'm going through something, you're going through something, it's really nice to know that that they will come together when they absolutely need to. And then I thought that it was a good message to send, that yeah, we may fuss, we may fight, but that's not the only thing that women do. If women can do 1,000,001 different things, but we can also support each other when we need to support each other. So, I mean, it was really great message just to send to the world. So, what do you think about this season? Did you like it?
I loved it. I mean, I thought it was a fantastic season. I mean, overall, it was very emotional to me, because, I mean, a lot of old friendships and a lot of beefs just kind of got fixed, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, if Frazier said fix it, Jesus
did. Yeah, Jesus fixed it. So, I mean, for me, I think it was a great season. I think they had a chance to actually overcome some of the past problems that they had. So, is there going to be a next season?
Season 8.
Season 8. We'll just see, you know, like, the progress of what happened this season. Yeah.
And I agree with you. I was like, even though I felt like some of the fights were the most ratchet that we've had, I felt like this show was probably the best show as far as the message that we're putting out to the public. It wasn't about that women are just catty, or we just fighting, or we just got the nicest bag, we can throw the most shade. It was about, you know what, we can also work together and restore broken relationships.
Yes.
And I thought it was great. So I'm excited to see season 8. I can probably deal with all of them staying, except for I would bring Porsha back and make Claudia a friend of the housewife.
What about Demetria?
Who?
Demetria.
Who?
Demetria. Don't do her like that.
No, I mean, she was not even worthy enough to get invited to the reunion.
Well, yeah.
Yes, no, she could stay.
She's in the audience.
She could go. We can make Claudia a friend of the housewife, Porsha a housewife. The rest of, I think we need one new person to add to the mix.
Sheree.
I would love to see
Sheree. That is my girl.
I would love to see Sheree in this mix.
Well, Jesus make wonders happen, so I'm hoping that he brings Sheree back.
Unfortunately, I do not think that she will come because even though I don't think Nene has a say in the casting and different things like that, Nene almost, I feel like, is the face of Bravo. So it was just like when somebody is the face of Bravo, even though they don't have like decisions, like you feel like they're important, so you kind of value how they feel. And I don't think she's feeling Sheree for this next season. But I would love to see her pop up and be like a friend of the Housewives and be like, hey, I'm back, you know, for an episode or two.
Yes.
Maybe go on the trip
check
with them.
boo.
Yeah, so that's our show. So guys, that is our show. Thank you so much for filling in. Did you have fun?
No problem. I had a great time.
Well, hopefully we will have you back again sometime soon.
Anytime.
And guys, you know, this is it until the middle of next month. So we're going to take a few weeks off while the shows are waiting for the summer shows to start back up. So in the meantime, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Living Room Show. We post lots of articles, me and Mr. Starvin Artist. We also live commentate on different shows like Atlanta. We'll talk about the Billboard Music Awards coming up this Sunday on our page, giving us our thoughts. So follow us on that page until we'll be back in June. So see you guys later. You ready for the outtakes?
Yes.
All right. What I need from you is understanding. Bye. But we won't see you next Monday, but we'll see you in a couple of Mondays. Bye.